All right, y'all, welcome to episode 5, I think we're on.
Episode 5.
We have another special guest, it's Irfan. He's here to talk about AI. Today's our AI talk. And so I guess this all came to fruition because we were getting lunch downstairs, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
And the three of us ended up just talking about AI for it was only a couple minutes.
It was like a minute, yeah.
But all three of us were just like, yes! And
Let's do a podcast.
Deep dove into AI for a few minutes, and we're like, this would be really cool to record and just get our thoughts. So we were talking about this before we started. We don't have a plan necessarily. We never really do, right? We shoot the
Fly
shit.
By the seat of our pants.
These are just
our
our thoughts and our opinions and our experiences. So you teach an AI class.
I do.
So what does the AI class entail, and what is that? What are you doing there?
Okay, so here at the office, AI is such a big topic of conversation just in general in the world. And so obviously in the real estate space, there's a lot of different use cases. So we were just going through, there's a lot of different kinds of AI. So the last class that I did was about, there's a Chat GPT, there's a Gemini, there's a Grok, there's Perplexity, there's Claude, there's 100 of them. Mm-hmm. And so we were just going through what do the different AIs specialize in, and how can we use those almost together to bounce ideas within the AIs to get a result of what we're trying to accomplish, right? So I was just kind of going through what that means, how people use it, and how they can put those things together.
Okay.
Because a lot of agents just only use Chat, or they only use Gemini, or they don't know how to use it at all.
Right.
So it's
well, ChatGPT's become like Google, basically, for everybody, right?
I use it like a Google.
Well, I think most people do, right? So, so how are you experimenting with the AIs and then implementing it, or how are you researching the AIs? Are you just playing around with it?
No, so I went to a class a couple of weeks ago that another agent had put on. I think it was from Utah, and he kind of did this whole class about the different AIs of how to use one versus the other, or how to use one with the other to get what you're trying to accomplish.
Just different use cases for different tools.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So and there's one that does images or creative visual stuff, but then the chats and the Geminis are more text based and can help you do things like that. And so so he did that class, and I was like, well, let me bring that back to the office.
I love it.
And so we had a pretty decent turnout on that class, which was great.
Okay, cool.
So what do you find yourself using more now these days?
Chat.
For
sure.
Really?
And
Chat GPT still?
And I think it's because I got, it's when you get in early on something, it's that was kind of the first one that was mainstream. So I just kind of got into it, and then I started using it more and more. And then all the other AI started coming out, and so I was like, well, I'm already Chat already kind of knows me in a way.
Yeah, no,
totally. I'll say make it sound like Irfan, and it sounds like me. I'm like, well,
but also people are now doing it hey, for advice. Hey, what do you expect? Recommend for this? And it says that hey. Nathan, you're so insightful.
What a great question.
What a great question.
It makes you feel good, right?
You're so, yada, yada. I'm like, this is kind of, but so it kind of makes you kind of try to empathize with what we're doing.
Are you using Chat the most as well?
I'm using two. I'm using Chat and Anthropic.
Really?
Yeah. See, I've never used Anthropic.
I've never used Anthropic. I use Perplexity a lot.
Yeah, I've started using that more.
Chat got really old. So it went from, what was it, 4 to 5, I think, right?
Yeah.
After the 5 switch or the different version came out, man, my experience just went downhill. It sucks now. It's giving me misinformation, so I'll start researching something I'm familiar with, I know about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's wrong.
It's almost like you test it and you're like, does it know?
Yeah. And it doesn't, dude. It makes stuff up.
So you have to do prompts where it's like, hey, whatever it spits out, do a deep analysis on what you just did. And he goes, well, thank you so much for doing it. After doing the analysis, I found that this was incorrect. I'm like, hold on. You should have done this to begin with.
That should have been the default mode.
Exactly.
It seems like you have to ask it 3 times to make sure and double check and give me sources. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just making stuff up. And where it didn't used to do that.
Yeah, it did not. I've started asking, search the internet for whatever.
Yeah,
or search the web or search Reddit or whatever. And then it'll cite how it gets the information.
So you're using the deep research?
Sometimes. So, dude, I just found out that there's those options in there.
Yeah,
if you click the plus button.
Yeah, but you have to be careful because it caps you. There's you only do I think 12 or so deep research, and then you're capped for the rest of the month, and you can't use it.
Really?
So
even if you pay for it.
Even if you pay for it.
So
I
pay
$20
$20 a month.
So I got capped out, right? So I'm like, okay, hold on, let me see if I can do a workaround. So I'm like, all right, thank you for the information. Now do a deep dive research on this information.
You prompt it to
I
do
prompt,
that.
so it kind of somewhat circumvents it. Now it's just thinking longer. It's like
you gotta like fool it.
Yeah.
The problem with it is I've given it projects on 2 different occasions, right? So I had an AI sort of a research project personally I was doing, and then also I was deep diving on Bitcoin like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Right? And I was giving it very basic. It wasn't like, create an algorithm or do any of that, right? It was a very just, hey, gather the data and create a report and give me some graphs, give me this, give me that.
Yeah.
Very basic requests. And it continuously week after week after week turned into a month after month after month. And every day I'd be like, give me an update. 24 hours, it'll be ready. 24 hours would pass, and nothing happened.
Nothing. Dude,
and then I'm like, so I'm like, give me a realistic. If you need more time, take the time. And I'm like, trying to be patient with the thing, right? And it's like you're talking to a person. And dude, it was months had passed, and I'm like, this was just the time that I had taken to just constantly asking for updates and giving it all the prompts. I'm like, I could have just done it myself. I'm like, and then I got to a point where I literally thought, like, I had this thought. I'm like, man, if I just taken the time to do it myself, what is the point of AI? Like, why am I even asking it to do these very basic, like, data gathering and stick it in a spreadsheet kind of a thing?
Yeah.
And it could not do it, man. It just refused to do it.
Yeah. That's something to unpack there, because there's something that goes into what our society is. We want it now. That's why a lot of people use it.
Yeah.
Because it's like
instant gratification.
Yeah, I need this, do it out, right?
Yeah.
Because versus what you would have to done is spend the time, learn it, and then try to master it yourself.
Yeah, you're so lazy asking AI
I
to
know.
do this stuff.
No, but that's just like...
This is also the thing, right? This is why nobody Googles anything anymore.
Yeah.
Because Google will require you to read and scroll
and you gotta find
click
out.
on different resources. And so you're doing the read, right? But you go to chat, and it's just... boom, there's your answer. Right or wrong, nobody's double checking.
Yeah.
Nobody's checking the sources.
You know what?
It doesn't matter if it's from like the New York Times or
the Inquirer.
Forbes. It could have pulled it from Reddit.
Yeah.
And it's going to regurgitate it like it's absolutely true.
So
right?
with my computer science background, I like to tell people, hey, I have a PhD in Google. Because you have to go into school for computer science, you have to Google stuff. Sure, there was a weird thing is like back then, I'm not sure if Google does it now. But back in the day, is like if you were asking certain questions, hey, how do you traverse a linked list? A linked list is a way where you do data sets, right? Certain things. And you were asking, hey, what is the runtime, or what's big O of N or whatever, these mathematical problems. And it's like, hey, well, you've been asking a lot of great questions. How do you feel about taking this 15-minute test? And then it would take you out, and then
Google asks you this?
Google.
Interesting.
Google will ask you this, and then you do this like whiteboard test, and it's like, hey, you will have a recruiter call you.
No way.
Yeah, I'm being dead serious. Yes.
Really?
So you
never heard of that.
You really had to like asking a lot of like, hey, and it wasn't like these basic computer science questions like, hey, how do you create a for loop, or what's a pointer? No. You have to do like some deep.
Well, you have to be knowledgeable to be asking the question in the first place.
So their algorithm recognizes like, hey, this guy might actually
know something. So it would direct
cool.
you. So now I'm like, I have a friend who's going back to school doing computer science. Like, hey man, I'm just using ChatGPT. Like, dude, don't do it, for the love of God, don't do it, because it's hurting you. It's gonna hurt you, because you're gonna, when you're applying for these type of roles, right? It's brutal. It's like you're going up against, I don't know, fucking Donkey Kong, right? And you're Mario. Remember Donkey Kong was like,
I love the analogy.
Yeah. So because it's like 5 or 6 interviews. Okay. Right? And like one interview specific is, hey, you're doing it with the hiring manager, you're doing a quick computer science question. And the other one's with other manager and so forth. The last, usually like the one's like one day on campus, 5 interviews, and it's a huge gambit of just like you in front of that whiteboard, and you're coding it. And there's people just looking at you. And it's like,
wow.
Like
the pressure's on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that you know what you
don't. So
right?
now it's like,
you're not bullshitting at that point.
If you're using these tools like AI, you're not testing yourself to actually do the problems.
Yeah. Well, that's been a lot of issues with AI in general, is that people are they say that people are getting dumber.
100%.
Because it's just giving you the answer as opposed to even you having to Google it and then search for it.
Right.
Because, that's kind of what school is, right? School in general is
research.
supposed to be like, researching and helping you figure out how to find the answer yourself versus like a chat GPT now. of just giving you the answer, whether, like you said, it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's like
you're not checking.
You're not really checking it. Yeah. Unless you know about the subject, you're like, this doesn't sound right.
And that's different, right? Because most of the time you're Googling or ChatGPTing something or searching something.
Right.
It's something you're not very familiar with, right? Because you wouldn't be searching it otherwise.
Right.
No, it's weird because like there used to be, I'm been out of it for a little bit, but there used to be a thing called Stack Overflow, which was like the Reddit for developers. So you would put a question, hey, how do you do this and do that? And it's just, you get like answers. Oh, you gotta do this. Line 17 was wrong. You missed a fucking, sorry. Semicolon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but now it's like, boom, ChatGPT can do it for you. But here's the thing now. There's some things with ChatGPT that can't even do well in terms of programming. So people are like, actually, like, no.
It can do basic stuff,
yeah,
right?
I can do it better. Yeah. Right, so it's like that's why I use now Anthropic, because it can do a better modeling. It can do better code review.
So Anthropic is more for technical things, right? It's not a language model, right? What is it exactly?
Well, it's basically off of the Claude AI, but it's going through.
I've used Claude before.
Yeah, their machine learning stuff has been more geared towards, I think, in my opinion, towards the development side.
Okay.
Because I can ask it, hey, how do you create this? Let's see, if you want to do your whole no website. Mm-hmm. I need you to create this website. We'll go to high conversion for these type of leads. I want it to look like this. I want it to also like...
And so can you give it basic prompts like that? Or do you have to go into the technicals?
No, you can give it basic prompts.
Does it spit out like for that example of creating like that website with high conversion, does it give you like a decent looking website? And like,
is it just HTML code? Like what is it spitting out?
You still have to like guide it a little bit, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, so what do you think about this? And it's somewhat similar to what ChatGPT does, but I've found out that the output of it has been much more higher quality than what Chat's been doing.
Well, like you had said earlier, like the update from ChatGPT 4 to 5, it was almost a regression in a sense.
100%.
Like it may have different kind of info, but like from a user friendly, like a UI, like it's not as good.
It's not as good.
No.
Yeah.
And which is the opposite of what... Remember when Sam Altman came out and he's like, 5 is the best that AI will ever get.
Right.
And he was like, up until that point, knowing that there was issues, dude. I still haven't grasped like what happened. Why is it not as good as it was a year ago? It's wild because you're right. It's a regression, right?
I think.
Did you hear Sam Altman? What he's going to call version 6? This is so sad. So he goes. He posted something on Twitter or on X the other day, and he's like, so the next version is not going to be called 6. It's going to be called 6.7. I was like, dude.
I thought that was a joke. I thought that was a joke.
Was it?
I know. I thought it was a joke.
I feel like that's already getting old.
But I'm
6.7.
Well, I'm like, no, dude. You're like you're supposed to be like the AI godfather, right?
Yeah.
You can't be doing things like don't try to relate to a 13-year-old kid. Like, please don't do this.
You see
you're
like
trying to get it early.
You're losing me.
Yeah.
I'm a 43-year-old dude. Like, you're losing me.
Do you see what he did? With he had a Roadster, Tesla Roadster on reserve, right? And he goes, hey, I'm canceling it, whatever. He puts it on X. And then Elon was like, you stole an open source company. And I was like, dude, just pipe it down. Pipe it down, man. I don't need you to be out here being like, make this shit work.
So speaking of Elon, like what about Grok? Like what is your experiences with Grok? So Grok in my experiences, the short-term experiences is I ask it to create a logo. Mm-hmm. It's doing a tremendous job compared to Chat.
Really?
Like, way different. Like, Chat is like, it's giving me the same thing 4 or 5 different times.
Yeah.
And it takes forever to load.
Yeah.
Where you ask Grok to do with the exact same prompt, right? The exact same request.
Yeah.
And it's giving me multiple versions and multiple tweaks and like instantaneously almost. It's
I haven't used Grok as much. I just recently started using it. Because I thought you had to pay for it, like, totally, but I guess there's a free version of it.
Yeah, just like Chat. It's free. You're not getting the full functionality,
right?
But, oh, man, I've been, like, really impressed, but I've only used it for, like, logo creation and take this picture and do this and that kind of a thing. So it's really been more of a visual type of experience. Like, not like I'm not asking it specific questions.
It's almost like it's the Elon Musk version of what you would think in AI. Yeah. Like, you're like, okay, well, Elon created, or he's like obviously the founder of it, the creator of it, but like, if you were to ask Elon a question, like, that's the kind of answer that you would get from Grok, where it's like well thought out, it's research, there's sources, and it's just more I don't know, it's more it's hard to say, but it's just, I don't know. It's just different.
So they did a study, and I don't know who did the study, and I wish I remembered because obviously we're recording this, but they did a study, and so they were asking...
You need to come more prepared.
I know. Yeah. I'm very ill-prepared. So they asked a series of questions. It was the exact same questions, asked in the exact same way to Grok, ChatGPT, and Perplexity.
Okay.
And part of the prompt was, I need sources and make sure it's completely accurate. Right. This is base everything that you're telling me based on fact and data versus opinions.
That's definitely what I found for Grok.
Yeah. And like 9 out of 10 times Perplexity was 100% accurate. I say 100%, right? There's no 100%, but it was like accurate almost every single time, and all the sources were actual factual sources and not just made up. Right. ChatGPT was last in every single category.
Really?
It was making up sources that didn't exist. So it was taking research papers and basically taking the data from one and then adding the author from this one and then taking another source. So it just started like randomly combining all these sources together and just giving you a fictional source. But they were all real people and real papers.
Right.
But the data was just like being compiled in a weird way. Where Perplexity, oddly enough, it was like spot on every single time.
Yeah, what was Grok? Was the...
Kind of like the middle ground. Like it was like the middle ground where sometimes it would make some shit up and then sometimes it was very accurate and it was just like... And so it's like it made me, after reading that article, it made me sort of shift to, if I need something graphical, I'm going to go use Grok. Right. I stopped using chat almost altogether.
Really?
I'm so frustrated with it. I just cannot rely on something that's trying to ask real answers from, and like, in our world, and like I'm not asking, we have guidelines in our systems if I need like a mortgage question, so I'm not going to ChatGPT luckily. But just also it's like I don't want to second guess every single thing that comes back, and that's what's happened to me over the last 6 months with chat. It's like I have to second guess everything.
Now, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and that's why we did that class, to show the differences of like what are the best use cases for chat, because chat to me now has become more of like a not an opinion type thing. I mean, obviously there's lots of opinions on it, but it's more like for taking like let's take a listing description, for example, right? Taking that listing description.
I love this,
and like making it sound more digestible and more palatable to like the average, to the layman, right? Whereas, Perplexity's like, hey, I need to do some research. I need to figure out some data. I need to figure out some stats. Right. Hey, tell me what what have sales prices done in the last 2 years? Like, Perplexity's going to go and find that info and say, hey, according to NAR or according to like Realtor.com or whatever, it's going to give you those sources. But then like a Claude is going to be like more of a like you need to write a research paper, and it's like you need it to sound really good and grammatically correct, and like that's good for that. And that's kind of what we were doing with those classes. Of like, how do we change?
Exactly right.
And how do we change? Or how do we? And Gemini was how do we like use the different things, the different AIs to accomplish what you're trying to do, regardless of what it is.
Because that's exactly what it is, right? So if I want to create, you see a lot of these crazy videos on TikTok and Instagram, Reels, right? And they're clearly AI generated.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get to a point where we're not going to be able to distinguish real and AI. Like, I think
it's just like a watermark.
I think we're like a year away. Not even a year.
It's close,
like,
man.
We're really close. Because before, AI fingers were really weird. The hair was really weird. They figured all that out really quickly,
I saw a video not too long ago, maybe a week or two ago, where it was like you know how like nowadays there's all these people, these influencer guys or people who like go out to they go out to like a crowd or a protest and they're interviewing people and they're like trying to gotcha to things. I saw a fake one that was at a nursing home about like this person interviewing people like for Halloween, like what they're gonna be, and they were like, the old people had like dressed up as something like clever.
Sure.
But it was totally AI, and I was like, this looks totally legit.
100%. Have you seen the one with aliens? The alien one? There's now one with babies. They do the baby one. Is hilarious.
I saw one with the guy was
the Theo Von ones are funny.
With him and Joe Rogan as babies.
Yes.
There was one with like guys on a toilet and like a bear goes through.
Yeah.
You seen that one?
No.
So there's ones where it's like, you can have a bear or a lion or something, and like you'd be sitting at your desk, and then all of a sudden it like transforms you into a jungle and you're running away from a lion or something. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, it's getting pretty intense, man. And you're right, dude. In about a year or so, it's going to be indistinguishable.
You can't tell. And that's going to be concerning, right? Because I could literally take a picture of you from this podcast,
Yeah.
And I can kind of create whatever I want.
Yeah.
Right? Like I did it with Jason. So Jason Rasmussen was a couple of pods ago. Or the last podcast, yeah. And so he has an idea of how he wants to integrate AI with one of his videos.
Yeah.
So I was like, I thought it would just be funny. He's like, Jason, let me take a picture of you. Dude, and I have the wildest AI videos of him on my phone now. Like, I have one of him in China, and all of a sudden he just puts the glasses on and there's like an army behind him. There's one where he's at the desk and a lion comes.
He is kind of a badass. So.
It's just hilarious, but you can take literally a very basic picture, plug it in an AI, and it's like, whoa, there you go.
You've seen because I'm a big Star Wars nut, right? Where they did hey, fix episode 8 or 9.
Dude, they have full episodes now.
Yeah, it just fixes it out. It's like, hey, it's like, I'm like, oh, wow.
And you could make it to where whatever you would want to see happen.
Yes, exactly.
Not even according to the story.
Yeah. So it's like, wow. So with this whole transformation, where do you see it now going from today, let's say 5 years from now? Do you think it's going to be something like... Because I've heard now a lot of universities are now being very strict because they don't want students to use it because it's very low plagiarizing.
Yeah. So, well, now they have an AI to detect the AI.
Yeah. Well, there's also,
have you seen this?
Yeah.
How meta is that?
So university, exactly. So universities have an AI platform now where basically I don't know if they're scanning it or
cross-referencing.
They're looking at it, and the AI that they've generated. So it's like the computer science department.
Well, there's a way that you can tell when something is written.
Yeah.
Because there's now what ChatGPT does is that it'll write out like I said, a whole prompt for you, right?
Yeah.
And then say if you copy and paste it, what it does behind it, I think there's a watermark Unicode that you can now scan for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like
you know what?
See that.
It's so funny you mentioned that. So I saw this thing the other day, and again, you don't know if it's fake or real anymore.
Yeah.
But there were some kids at Columbia or MIT. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
They basically created, again, I think it's another AI that can get rid of it. So they're writing,
the universities are checking the AI, and then they're writing
and then the kids are wriding another code, and it's just like this perpetual circle of how do we get around it? And I think there's a point where you just can't.
Yeah.
Right? There's going to
be
a point
university standpoint.
Yeah. Well, like Google, Apple, all the major players anymore, they no longer do Zoom calls. Because have you seen the videos of where people basically have the phone up or a tablet up, and it's basically live audio in an AI, and the AI is telling them exactly what to say in the interview.
Oh,
dude, go on Instagram Reels.
Because the AI is listening to the interviewer.
Instantaneously giving you the perfect answer.
Yeah.
And so the interviewer will immediately say, share your screen.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right? So they got smart because it used to be on the same screen.
Right.
And now you just have a phone on the side. I'd be like, yeah, of course I'll share my screen. They share their screen, and the AI is still going, and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
And so now I know Google requires in-person interviews. I think Apple, Microsoft for sure. So all the big tech players basically are requiring in-person interviews only because it's the only way where you can guarantee AI is not being used.
Yeah, going back to what I'm saying, like it's a 5th, 6th interview. It's a whole day on campus. And it's a bunch of 1 hour interviews, like 5 of them, running right to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Because
in person.
Yeah. Because I had my last one of those was Stella Lumens, right? I interviewed with them to be a product manager there. And my last interview, I got flown out to the Bay Area, and it was like boom, 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 boom. And it was like, this is 2023. I'm like, oh, man. And this is when chat was just starting to boom up. I was like, man, if I had chat. If I had chat right now, man, I'll be.
Well, they're catching on now. Okay, they're catching on now.
So I want to ask you his question again. So let's say, what's your 1 year? I think you could vision sort of what AI is sort of morphing into. Yeah. But what's your 5-10 year outlook on it? What AI is going to do to the world, the marketplace, how we do business, the whole thing? I know that's a hard question. I'm giving you. I mean, you could give me a 30-minute answer, and it's not wrong or right? But how do you see this going?
Man, I see. It's hard to tell because the way that, like you had mentioned earlier with ChatGPT, it kind of regressed, so it's not doing things as good anymore. But eventually, I think they'll get over that with one of the AIs. But I think at some point, it's gonna take over an admin role. I think like an executive assistant or some sort of assistant type role. In our industry, we have transaction coordinators, right? And in your industry, you guys have processors and people to look over stuff. I think that type of role will probably be outsourced to an AI because I think what'll happen is right now, like in a processor role or in a transaction coordinator role, I physically send a contract to my transaction coordinator, my wife Bailey, and she goes into our Google Drive and she separates all the contract docs out. She makes sure that everything's labeled correctly. She sends out the contract to like the lender, to the title company, to the client with a welcome email. It's all those little tasks that could be automated. I think that's probably where it's going to go within the next year to 2 years, where like you could tell the AI, hey, here's the login info here, and almost like whenever like you're using a camera, for example, or a gimbal, and you can say like, okay, the first shot is right here, and then you say the next shot is here, and then the next shot is here, and then you just like say play, and it'll just go through the
what do programs call this? Like where it's a sequence of order, it's like instructions, like right? So you do A, B, C.
It's a procedural. You're going down.
Yeah.
Right. So basically,
it's just that
the AI. I would think the AI would. You would have like a record thing and say, okay, go through your process. And I would say, okay, when I get this email, I give you this contract, here's the process I want you to go through. I want you to go here, and you would physically be doing it on your computer to show the process of what to do, and then like it would just do that process.
Yeah.
Instantaneously
too, right? Where it might take a regular transaction coordinator, I don't know,
maybe an hour,
whatever,
yeah,
right?
It's not a huge amount of time, but
an AI could do that in
5 seconds.
Like a minute would be long, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I think in a short term of like we talked about it taking over jobs. I think in the short term those types of things will probably get better. I don't know if it'll totally take over that role, but I think it will get much better at that. To where maybe the TC will start using that to like make her job more
streamlined,
efficient. Right?
Where you can start focusing on more important activities versus just sending emails and sending contracts back and forth. Right.
So then I think in 5 years, I definitely think that would be a role that would be totally eliminated.
I agree.
Yeah. Those admin type roles. I think, I mean, for example, like...
Well, it's also you want people to be focusing on jobs that are not just like data entry doesn't exist anymore, really. Right? There used to be hundreds of thousands of data analysts in the country, and now there are probably only a handful, I would guess.
Yeah.
Right? And so that like you're just utilizing people to different types of jobs that are more sort of good for human beings and to actually be more productive versus just putting in data.
Data entry.
Yeah.
So the 5 years hard to tell, man, because I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I hope that it doesn't take over a lot of jobs because there's so much human to human connection that we need, like intrinsically, that like we have to have, like in a real estate transaction, right? Like I would hope that somebody wouldn't just rely on an AI to give them all the information, to get them into the house, to negotiate the contract, to do all the little nitty gritty stuff. Because you would want to talk to a person to go meet that person, to go walk through the house and to like say, hey...
You're talking about the biggest transaction of most people's lives, right?
It's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I think there's so many different aspects of being a real estate agent that absolutely will be taken over by AI.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. And I'm sure there's a group of people that have no problem with, dealing with AI and having them control the whole transaction. Right. But for most people that I know, like having that, like, Irfan's going to go show me a house. I fell in love with it. He's going to write the contract. Yeah. Like, there's something behind that. You have experience that an AI, I don't care how much you program it, like you've seen it all, you've done it all.
Yeah.
And even if an AI can analyze the last 100,000 transactions in DFW, right?
Yeah.
They don't know, they haven't had the phone calls that you've had with the other agent. They haven't had the conversation with the buyers that you just had, right? Like they haven't done these things. Like they can analyze the transaction itself, the numbers, the data.
Yeah.
But it's the conversations that you both have had hundreds of times that you can't program that.
Yeah, and I think that's where, I mean, my hope is that part stays with the human being.
Yeah.
I think
getting to you, I think everything getting to you, like, I think the home search, I think the process of people going on Zillow, because that's what happened, right? Before Zillow, what did people do? They relied on you.
They called the agent because we had the books.
You had the books.
Yeah.
Right? And then what happened when the internet came around? Now all of a sudden, we had the MLS and things of that nature, right? So I think these are just steps of progression to becoming more and more and more and more efficient. Now in real estate specifically, I think there's a lot of things that will go away.
Yeah.
But I don't think...
Like the transaction coordination we talked about.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I think it's going to make I think it's going to be a better experience for the consumer, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like, right? Because it's going to be, you can go to an AI potentially. Like, let's say Zillow comes up with an AI. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or let's say you and Nathan come up with an AI
Yeah.
one day, and I'll invest. But, right, you guys come up with an AI and be like, hey, there's just a way better process on how to help people put in the data, put in the information that they want to put in, and then the AI will go out there in the market, go to search the MLS and search the off-market listings and search the FSBOs.
Hey, here's the house that they are looking for.
Also just filtered it, right? So right now, you put somebody on a search, it's just like there's only so much data and information you can put in, right?
Right.
So I think there's going to be, you're going to have two subsets. You're going to have one subset of a consumer base like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm going to just use this AI.
Because there are those people.
Which I get,
boom. I want quick, simple, boom. I don't want to mess with anything. But when our specialty is going to come is that, we can say, that one-on-one experience. That value proposition you're offering, that journey, you're going to go from the time I do a buyer's consultation or listing agreement until the time we're at the closing table, this is the experience I'm going to provide you. Make it less stressful, make it powerful for whatever adjective you want to add there. So we become a niche, and in that focus, people will be willing to pay not just maybe a 2% commission or 3% commission, but a lot more because you're giving them back time.
Right.
You're giving them back a thing that they didn't have. At the end of the transaction, like, hey man, Nathan, or hey Irfan, thank you so much for helping me with this. I couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah.
Right? Versus that straight just transactional. So you're gonna have to create those two separate type of segments. Per segment where someone who's just wants to, like, here's my money, give them a house, cool, bye.
Yeah.
Right?
Would you guys ever trust an AI to draw up your contracts for you?
Hell no.
No. I would maybe have it compare. Like, let's say we had a listing, we get multiple offers. I had 5 offers. I would be comfortable with inputting those offers and saying, hey, what are the differences between all of these, right? But not saying, hey, here's the offer that I want to make. And put all this stuff into the contract without checking it. I mean, I may do it, but I'd have to double and triple check.
Well,
it.
I mean, I think that goes without saying, right? You would definitely check it. But what if it streamlined the process and the time that it takes to write up the contract? If there was just I don't know, this doesn't exist, right? This is hypothetical. Obviously, I think a lot of things with an AI conversation is sort of hypothetical until 2 weeks from now it's not. And that's how quickly it goes. But I was just curious if you guys would ever trust AI with something as important as a client contract.
I don't know.
I would do it to, like, I would write it up and then just have like a double check, right? Yeah. But for me to do guarantee the whole thing, no.
I couldn't trust it now. No.
Like, even like maybe I could do a couple CMAs, right? And then just get the bulk of stuff, and then I will then do the final refinery, of it, put my spin to it. But no, right now, no.
And double check its work.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've done that before. I mean, I put CMAs, like, if I'm not going super deep into a property and somebody's like, hey, can you check the value on this house? And it's like, you know what? Let me get as close to the information or as much information as I can about what I would do to run a CMA, and I would put it into a chat or a Perplexity or something to analyze all that and say, hey, what do you think about this property? And then I would take that opinion and I'd say, okay, that's how it does it. Let me do it the way that I know how to do it, that I know is correct.
And compare.
Compare and say, did I get the same answer as the AI? And if I did, then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not going to rely on it solely, but I could, if the next time somebody has a question, I can use that same type of procedure and say, okay, let me do this. And if it's like, hey, I just want to know the value of my house, I'm not looking to move, I just kind of would like to know where I sit. Then I could be like, hey, here's your range. Like, it's within $450 to $525, right? Like, you're somewhere in that range. I would have to go in and refine that to say, okay, now we're getting closer to, like, your actual...
I would list it at $595 or whatever.
Right, or whatever it's going to be, then I would have to go in there and do those double checks to make sure it's all good. But yeah, that's how I would see it. That's how I use it now, and I think in the next year or so it'll get better at that part. But I think what you were saying, Nathan, about the two segments of, like, some people are just going to want to have no connection to a person. They're just like, I'll just let the AI do it. I'll trust it, whatever. But I think more and more, more people will realize, or I hope that, just like us, like, I don't want it to take over. No. I think the majority of people don't want AI to take over. So I think in that macro societal sense, I think people will say, listen, this is a cool tool, but I still would like a person to be. Yeah. But
so do you think it depends on the task? Like, so for example, if there was an AI that could search for the best airline ticket for me.
100%.
Yeah. But I would never trust an AI to do my real estate transaction, right?
Or my taxes.
Or my taxes.
Yeah.
But I think there's different things, right? Like, I need a new cell phone plan.
Boom.
here's what I
need. AI can figure that out for me because it's like there's like a low cost there, right? It's not going to be a huge
and there's a time
impact on my life.
Yeah, because there's different. That's like I think in my opinion it's a little different because you're looking at airline tickets, right? There's so much prices out there. Like you can lose your mind. Like at this
going down the rabbit hole.
So it can
People
do all that data. Boom.
You get like, all right, that's good enough. That's good enough because you've already spent an hour.
But if you do your tax, like, fuck them. That's sorry. That's your specific
Maybe had a few drinks today.
Yeah. So
it's only noon or whatever.
So yeah, I can see that for mass things like airplane tickets, car insurance, whatever.
Insurance, that's a big one. I would love that.
But for like your taxes, man, you're like, hey, I bought this card to do a tax write-off. I'm not going to trust AI to be like, hey, this was ordinary in whatever purchase for your business. No, I'm not going to do that.
So, I know I want to be respectful of your time.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I'm looking forward to the AI that can do it all. I know that's a big ask, but I think it's coming. Like right now, we talked about so many different things, and I think that's the reason ChatGPT has become. So like my mom,
it's just part of your world.
Mom uses ChatGPT, and my dad, my grandmas, all the way to young children are using ChatGPT. Yeah, like it's 100%, right? But I think when we get to a point,
I can see that. 100%. I can see that.
Yeah.
And you see this, I'm like, man, come on.
Yeah. My mom's phone's always on silent, always on silent. You call my mom, it's just she's not picking up because it's on silent for whatever reason. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to a point, and I think that is like the next 10 years. We're gonna see some AI, whether it exists today or not, and probably not. If in my opinion, it's going to be able to take all of the stuff that's been going on because this is like almost everything's beta version right now. I feel like everything's in beta version right now, and then when that one big player comes on the scene, is going to be able to take all of that, put it into one, where it's gonna be the Google. Right, Alta Vista used to be a thing.
Yeah,
Ask Jeeves used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Right, Google came on the block, dude, and just
wrecked them out.
Nobody thought about anything else for decades.
Well, and I think so. Real quick, I was listening to Elon the other day. He was on a Joe Rogan podcast, and he's such an interesting guy. Like Joe was asking him about like what his idea of the future would be.
Yeah,
and he was saying, you know what, it may be, and I don't know if I agree with this, but I could see why he thinks this. I hope it doesn't go this way, but he was saying that basically there's not going to be any apps anymore. There's not going to be.
I heard this. Yeah,
there's not going to be a reason for you to have an app because you would just the AI is so powerful that you would just say, "What is my bank account balance?" and it would just tell you, "What is? Can you go do this for me, or can you look this up?"
So it's just like a screen.
So your phone is just a screen.
It's
just an AI that has access to everything, and it would just tell you what you want to know.
I heard the same podcast, and I was fascinated because I've never thought about it that way.
Either.
But he's actually right.
It's because I can see it happening.
20 or 30 apps on my phone, and each one is very specific to what it can do and what it's for, right? But if
the AI has access to it and it knows,
it doesn't need any of that. You don't need to open up anything.
I don't know, man. That's
scary.
That's too deep for me, I think. But
there's so much.
We didn't know the iPhone would exist freaking 15 years ago.
But to do that to me, I look at that's so much compute power. That's so much damn compute power. To be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah, but we don't care about that.
No, we don't. But
I don't think about that.
The resources.
No, but hold on. We do though. Because the data centers popping up left and right, electricity bill is going to go up higher. So to me, like going back how far AI can go.
Is it IBM? Have you heard about the one that they're putting up in space? So they're already developing it. I need to do more research before these pods. I want to say IBM.
What? IBM, they're doing something here in Frisco.
No. So what they're doing is they've realized, right? So the biggest problem with these data centers is the electricity that it takes and also the cooling.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're developing basically a satellite that's just going to orbit the Earth.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about cooling. Obviously, it's sub-zero temperatures in space.
Right.
And then
it gets energy from the sun.
You don't have to worry about the atmosphere, right? So they're like, I think it was like 100 times the solar radiations coming from the upper stratosphere or wherever it's going to end up floating around compared to surface level, right? So they're like, solar here on Earth on the land
is way different.
It's different than up in space, and so they're developing these data centers that are basically just going to be in space.
It's going to be like a Starlink, but like for data centers.
Yeah, but it makes total sense, right? Because you're taking the two biggest problems with these data centers. And you're solving it instantaneously by just putting it up.
But also,
there's
a limit though, because all these are just GPU powered.
Mm-hmm.
All these, so what would be scary is now we start to transition into quantum computing.
Yeah,
which is happening.
Quantum computing with AI. Then I'm like Skynet.
No, quantum computing, honestly, genuinely scares me. Yeah, like AI, I've kind of gotten used to it. It doesn't really scare me. I'm like, it's integrated. There's nothing we can do about it. Quantum computing,
that right there
is going to change the game.
Because right now, as of right now, Google has one. I think it's in Palo Alto, but it's the size of almost a warehouse.
Yeah.
But they're trying to make it smaller. You start to do that type of now of machine learning regressions, all that stuff with AI. That right there could be really scary.
It becomes uncontrollable, right? Like we can't, like nobody on Earth is going to be able to control it. It's just it's doing what it's going to do, and it's just going to run with it, and there's nothing to do to stop it except get rid of electricity, right?
And then AI will say, "Oh, I think the humans are the problem."
Yeah.
And then we're
there was a show on FX. It was called Deus Machina or something like that.
Well, there's a movie called Ex Machina.
Yeah, Ex Machina. But I think this is going before or after, but it's based on quantum computing. And the guy from Parks and Rec, Ron Swanson. You know the
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he
let me some Ron Swanson.
Me too. Who doesn't?
He's like the Jobs, Elon Musk type of character. And what he did with quantum computing was it goes all the way back to the crucifixion.
Interesting.
Right? And then what it comes out to, I don't want to spoil it, but it is like...
I have to watch this. This sounds
bro,
interesting.
it is freakishly like, you start like, hold on. Wait. No, I can see that.
Yeah.
And they start throwing some nuggets, like for me, like, all right, talking about RSA algorithms and what, like, cryptography stuff. I'm like, oh shit, okay. They really...
It becomes really sort of too big to even conceptualize for individuals. You know, like I don't care how smart you are. I mean, you could be the best computer scientist on the planet, and it's like kind of trying to conceptualize the size of the universe, right? We're too pea-brained to even realize how big it actually is. But listen, we've gone way over. I want to be. I said this 10 minutes ago. I want to be respectful of your time, and then we keep going on. So y'all, we could literally do this for probably another hour,
probably
easily. Right, Irfan, dude, thank you so much for coming, man.
Thank you guys.
This is awesome.
I appreciate it, man. Like, very cool to be here.
Like I said, we just kind of shoot the shit.
This is my first podcast, dude.
Is it really? Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so you guys are popping the chair here.
This is our first podcast as well.
That's the first one.
Yes.
No, I love it, man. Dude, seriously, thanks for taking the time to do this.
You.
I really appreciate it, man. This is
awesome,
man. Y'all, hope you enjoyed that. We went way longer than expected, but hopefully you guys learned something, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.
See ya.